Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'm going to cover game 51 of a First Book of Morphy. We are at endgame rule number 3, passed pawns must be pushed. We have, again, Paul Morphy with the black pieces against Arnaud de Riviere with the 4 knights game. So let's go ahead and go over the moves. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6 with the 4 knights. Knight c3, bishop c5, d3, h6. Again, stopping any ideas about knight g5 or bishop g5. Queen e2, castles, and then knight a4. So here, the author comments that unless white is certain of capturing the bishop with his next move, this is an errant knight excursion. He should have waited for black to play d6, right? So now once, again, which is what happens in the game, is that the bishop will go back, and then now the knight is going to be left here on a4, right? In that case, again, you just retreat the knight back to c3. Now, once you know for sure when black plays d6, then you play knight f4. Now the bishop has to retreat to b6, and then the knight captures. Here we have bishop e7, leaving the knight poorly placed on a4. Bishop b6. Again, white is worried that black will do the same thing, right? Knight a5, because white pawn is here, already played on d3, and the bishop cannot go back. So again, bishop a3. Now again, some other players might be fine with this, and they might play castles here. And now if knight a5, then they'll just put the bishop to b3. And if knight captures, then they'll capture with the a pawn, and the rook is developed here on the a file. So a3, d5. Now again here, because the knight is not on c3 defending d5, black is now able to play d5. He captures d5, knight captures d5, castles by white, bishop g4, bishop e3, getting ready for knight c4. King h8, preparing f5. Again, remember this is a pin. So in the future, when black plays f5, there will be no pin on the knight and the king. Knight c3. Okay, knight captures c3, bishop captures c3. f5, bishop c1. Again, black wants to play e4, so white is preparing for that. If bishop to d2, then white loses a piece, because we have e4, d captures on e4, f captures on e4, queen captures on e4, bishop captures f3, and then queen captures f3, and then at the end of that we have queen captures d2. So instead of bishop d2, white goes all the way back with the bishop to c1. Then we have bishop to d6, repositioning the bishop, preparing e4, and the bishop will be on a more active diagonal. Frees the queen to develop along the d8 and h4 diagonal as well. Rook b1, and again here the author comments that maybe white should have played queen e3. It can almost never harm and almost always helps to unpin. So white can unpin by queen e3, then e4, then knight d4. Instead we have rook b1, e4, d captures e4, and then black plays knight e5, bringing more force to the attack immediately. Knight captures e5, bishop captures e2, knight g6 check, king h7, knight captures f8 check, queen captures f8, bishop captures e2, f captures e4, rook captures b7, bishop captures a3. And here the author comments that it is somewhat amazing that white's small misplays at moves 5 and 8 are punished in the endgame. When white returned his knight from the edge and black exchanged on c3 and a3, the pawn became an isolated became isolated, and while the light squared bishop never made use of the luft that white created on a2, instead the a pawn was captured a dozen moves later, resulting in a passed pawn for black. And let's go back to the position where the luft was created, right? a3. So here the point of a3 was that white was supposed to bring the bishop back, and he never did. And then here again, black captured, and now black has doubled pawns, and now the a3 pawn is isolated. So again, in the end game, it came to get white here, right? Because now the bishop just captured the a3 pawn. So now bishop e3, a5. The passed pawn advances immediately after it is created. Rook captures c7, bishop d6. Getting out of the way of the a pawn while making a threat. Rook d7, bishop e5, f3. Threatening a discovered attack, so black's passed pawn must stay put. Okay, so the discovered attack is f captures on e4, attacking the queen, so the queen moves. Rook e7, another threat, so the bishop has to move. Queen captures c3, we're defending the bishop. Bishop f2, so now that move does not create any threats, so we push the pawn, a4. f4, bishop d4, again threat is the pawn captures the bishop, so bishop d4. Rook captures e4, bishop captures f2, rook captures f2, and then a3. Bishop d3, g6, again discovered attack here on the king, maybe rook e8 with a discovered check and winning the rook. Black defends with g6, f5, a2, f captures g6, and then king h8, and here white resigned the game. I mean, black is pretty much going to queen, and there's nothing white can do about it, right? If white goes rook f1, and then queens, then the rook takes with check, and then now, I mean, what's there to do? Right, maybe now queen g7, stopping the pawn here. And then now if the rook defends this pawn, we can pile up on this pawn with rook back to a6 and take care of this, attack the bishop or attack the queen, or maybe go rook f6, right, to trap the king. But it is a winning endgame for black. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.